Disasters and conflicts have been part of human history since time immemorial. Sub-Saharan Africa is no exception. Disasters such as floods and famine has displaced people and brought untold suffering. The Rwanda genocide left close to 1 million people dead. 1 million people have lost their lives in 20-year-old Somali civil war. In the past, it has been a nightmare for humanitarian workers working in conflict or disaster-ravaged areas. But with the help of technology, their work is having a much bigger impact. Let's take the example of Dadaab, the world's largest refugee camp in Kenya, having a population of close to 500,000 people. It was a nightmare tracking the distribution of food rations to the refugee community. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, in partnership with the WFP and NRC, have implemented a biometric system to help in food distribution.
With the biometric system, each household has a representative whose biometric details are stored on the database and is required to swipe their thumb on the fingerprint reader in order to access food rations for their households. Each beneficiary has a card which is given to a clerk at the food distribution point. The clerk checks whether the card is valid, and then the beneficiary proceeds to swipe their finger on the card reader. If the records match, the clerk punches the card and gives the beneficiary a token.
The system has eliminated cases of fraud in food distribution in Dadaab. Let's look at Ushahidi, a crowd mapping technology developed by Kenyans during the 2008 post-election violence in Kenya.
A year ago in Kenya, we had post-election violence, and in that time, we prototyped and built in about 3 days a system that would allow anybody with a mobile phone to send in information and reports on what was happening around them. We're realizing that this is true. If it works in Africa, then it will work anywhere. And so we build for it in Africa first, and then we move to the edges.
The past 10 days has literally revolutionized humanitarian response. Never in the past have we been able to deal with this information vacuum that typically exists during the first 24, 72 hours, where there's just no information, everybody's scrambling, nobody knows what to send, how much to send, what have you, really what the extent of the impact is. In large part, thanks to Ushahidi's approach to information collection, i.e. crowdsourcing, we were able to fill that gap. About a couple hours after the earthquake hit, I was basically watching CNN. When I learned the news, I immediately called David Kobia.
So Patrick Meyer called me on and asked me to set up an Ushahidi instance for Haiti.
Ushahidi has been used in other disasters, such as in Haiti earthquake, and is now used in over 159 countries and translated into 31 languages. Access to technology has improved in sub-Saharan Africa. We are also endowed with an educated, tech-savvy and youthful population. We have the potential to create more applications to help humanitarian workers working in disaster and conflict-prone areas. The challenge goes out to the African youth. Are you ready to stand up and support use of technology in humanitarian work?